All right. I think we're on. Okay. Hey, art students. Miss Copera here. Welcome to another week of art criticism. Here we have a painting by Kerry James Marshall called Better Homes, Better Gardens, 1994. So, yeah, I am trying to expose you guys to different art. The first step when we're looking at a painting is to just, I'm trying to pick a fun color, overthinking. See the work by, can't make it bigger, oh, there we go. By drawing. Drawing is seeing, guys. So I want you to go ahead, set your timer for, I don't know, can we do this in like 7 minutes? I'm going to set my timer for 7 minutes here. You set your timer. Siri, set my timer for 7 minutes. Okay. 7 minutes is counted. So, you know, write the title. I don't want you guys to spend too much time on this step. I was telling you last week. Okay. So write the title, because the title is a hint, right? Better homes, better gardens. And there, right there, that tells me, that gives me a hint as to what Marshall is saying. It's going to be straight up like better homes, better gardens, probably for the main subject of the painting, yes? So write the title, Better Homes, Better Gardens. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to quote it by Kerry James. Don't freak out, I'm doing cursive. Marshall, don't panic. Okay, fabulous, 1994. Andy Alcazar was pointing out that it's important to think about the year and what's happening. Now you can see right here, I have a whole article about Kerry James Marshall. I'm not going to read it yet because what we're doing with art criticism is we're just bringing ourselves to the art piece and we're bringing our experiences to the art piece. So again, the first step, you could take your markers and you could highlight. Step 1, you're going to see by drawing. If you want, write the date. If you want to highlight the title, go ahead and do that. So when we are drawing, we're not worried about it being perfect, yes. But you, on your sketchbook, you want to kind of just go ahead and put aside a space where you're going to go ahead and you're going to do that. I'm going to go with a light line weight. So for you guys, that means that you're not going to press down too hard. Maybe I'm going to start off with like kind of like a gray, right? So you're going super light. And what I want you to do is I want you to just, it's like also an intro to figure drawing, right? You are drawing a line for this figure because my eye, I don't know about you guys, but my focal point goes right here. So I'm going to just draw a line going out. This is the person. And what we're doing is we're meditating. We're seeing this art piece by drawing it. And please post these imperfect drawings to Seesaw, y'all. And this goes out. And now what I'm doing is I'm seeing things that are incorrect. Why am I not going in? Okay. So you're like, ew, what is that? But there's a method to my madness, right? Because I'm going super light with the pencil, and I'm sorry I'm doing it on an iPad. But then I'm erasing, and what I'm doing is I'm seeing. I'm doing it on iPad because it's faster for me to upload stuff, and I'm hiding from my children, to be honest. Trying to get some differentiated work done. Okay, so here we have this person who is walking, and I'm already running out of space. I'm not going to trip. Okay, and he's walking and he's holding hands. I'm not going to like obsess over the hand being perfect. Okay, and then what you do is you do like a quick ellipses. You could go ahead and do a line for the eyes, you know, as we're drawing her. It does not need to be perfect. I'm looking at my timer. I have 3 minutes left. Oh, gosh. Okay. Watch. I'm like gonna go over on time. Okay, so yeah, intro to figure drawing in the middle of an art criticism unit. So they're holding hands, right? Is that the focal point, them holding hands? Write it in the chat. I'm watching. You know? So two people holding hands. I feel like his arm goes out more. And I'm going super light with this Apple pencil. You would go super light with your pencil, same thing. Adding in ellipses to emphasize his belt right there. Okay. Now watch. I feel your pain, guys, because I want to now obsess over that. So, you know, you could always, if you're stuck, you could divide it into thirds, you know, be like, okay, so on the left, we have this sign. That must be important, right? He has actual text. And then we have a background. This looks like a school to me, but I don't think it's a school because it says Better Homes. And then we got the tree happening. And what is happening here? We have like this slime and this drippy paint. What does that drippy paint make you feel? And then I'm looking here. I'm like, whoa, what in the world is that? So please, I'd be interesting if people look it up as a team and kind of figure out like what the heck that is. I would love to hear in the chat because we got to work as a team. We only have so much time as we deconstruct a painting. So welcome to Wentworth Gardens. Okay, so I don't know if I want to write that. Welcome to the Gardens. Office located. Hands holding. Ooh, we got hands holding here. We got hands holding there. That's visually balanced. Guys, I'm going to be honest. I don't know what this painting is about, but I love this artist. So you should check out some more of Kerry James Marshall's stuff. I mean, really cool stuff. So we're just doing a sketch. Oh my gosh, I'm almost out of time. I got distracted. We got two trees happening. Two trees, two people. That makes me think of visual balance. A line. Got some perspective happening. Maybe Kerry James Marshall is trying to bring us perspective, trying to help us to see the truth. Then I got like this thing happening with this hope. And it's interesting how the hope is kind of going towards them. It's like they're the hope in this weird space with drippy paint. This makes me think of bullet holes, not going to lie. Just because of all the repetition of it and the sliminess. But then I got this sun happening, and I got the bird, and then I got the windows, bricks. Maybe I'm going to emphasize that. And I'm kind of like, okay, what is this drippiness? Maybe you have a second to do some color. Got this drippiness happening. Got the sky. And that's it. That's my time, people. My time's going off. So I'm going to stop. Okay? So, like, you're going to do what you can, and then we're going to move on. Now we're going to go ahead. We're going to annotate it.
Audio test 1 2 3. Audio test 1 2 3. Okay, guys, welcome back. Check it out. Totally lost where. Okay, so the next step is to go through DAIJ, and this is kind of the real work. Now I'm trying to remember our colors last time. Don't get mad if I'm wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong. We went from, and you know, this is our fire right too. We're going to go through this description. Please say I'm spelling it right. And then we did green. We did, oops, that is not green. For green, we did analysis. Okay, this is activating prior knowledge from last week. And I think, oh, I hear screaming. My children are coming to get me. And then I'm just making sure, ooh, don't. Okay, I think the children have not found me yet. Okay, next step is interpretation. Did you make your key last time? Look back in your sketchbook. And then What color did we do for judgment? I can't remember. Was it pink? Judgment. And what I want you to do as a team is I want you to actually go through each step And you can have a space opposite your sketchbook like this on the other page where you're kind of making notes. Okay, and I want you to actually annotate and I want you to talk. I need to see evidence that you are understanding the painting. Okay, so as far as description, maybe I should get a smaller thing. We're labeling the elements of art. And I'm going to say, like, I notice when I look at this piece, I think of color. And I just, the first thing I think of is the dark complexion. And, you know, I think that's intentional. Guys, when I'm teaching art, I can't spell. And believe it or not, I teach English too. So it's just like, complexion. That's right. Complexion, noun, the natural color. Okay, it just looked funny. Okay, always stop and check. So dark complexion, I'm writing that kind of big, of their skin, right? That's kind of like the first thing I see as far as color. And then it's very like rainbowy color. So like that's to me is the dominant element of art. Is the color, right? Like we got like all these hopeful, you know, and you want to describe, we're describing, right? Bright, sunny colors. And we're also describing what we see in their face. I'm going to make this thinner. But they don't look hopeful, right? So it's kind of like juxtaposed with like, this contrast, they don't look hopeful, they look sad. Are they sad? Well, she's happy. Okay, so she is happy. Happy, and then serious. So, like, I don't know. I'm kind of like asking myself already, like they are the hope. Is that too interpretation? Maybe that's me like bringing my belief in like kids being the hope to this piece. So I don't know if that's what the author was intending. But back to describing, okay? Stay in your lane, Miss Copera. This is a building. I don't know. Is this where they live? Is this their house? Again, thinking about the title, Better Homes, right? Right? So maybe this is their homes, better gardens. So is it a home that's located in a garden? Okay, so still describing. In this step, I want to talk about everything that is noticeable to me. Like these characters, I'm really noticing. They are, what am I doing? They are holding hands. Yes, so we're writing that in our sketchbook. Now, we have the sun, right? It's not just sunny colors, there's an actual sun. And then we have two birds. Okay, two birds, two people. Be that an accident? I think not. I didn't have time to draw the birds, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to draw the birds. Again, guys, you should be talking in the chat about what you see and start to think about what these things represent. Two birds. And you know what? I didn't start my timer, so I'm going to start my timer. Siri, set my timer for 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes and counting.
You have to think about time when you approach your work. Okay. Trees, okay? Two birds and check it. Check it. Waka, waka, wah. Two birds. Two trees. Two trees. What is up with that? Okay, so are they the trees? Are they the birds? That's kind of like what I'm thinking. Okay, but we have to talk about this drippy paint. And I've only talked about one element of art. Stop and highlight your elements of art that you're talking about, right? Like, are you talking about... So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to be like, okay, what other elements do I need to talk about? So texture, that's one I haven't talked about. Drippy paint, slimy, sad, rough, texture. So that's one element of art. Box your elements. Box them and highlight them. So we got texture. We talked about color. So we have this like hopeful color, right? Oh, I just saw another bird. Okay, so maybe they're not the birds. I don't know. Oh, another bird. That creates unity. Okay, IL28, right? There's so much here. So IL28. So in description, you can kind of add more stuff in. 422, what does that say? Units. So it's kind of like apartments, and it says better homes, better gardens. And then I see drips of paint that are kind of like bullets, splats of paint, splats. Okay. You want to talk about what's in the background and the foreground too? So, oh, that's my time. So let me talk about one more element as far as space. Space in the background. Space. Background, sun, right? But then close up, it's almost like the truth is kind of like in our face close up. Foreground, the main characters are walking away. All right, so that's as far as I'm going to go with description. Let's go ahead. Let's do 4 minutes on analysis and a second. Let's stop and make sure that this is filming. Again, you are doing a drawing. You are talking in the chat. Point out things that I didn't point out. You know, this is a scaffold to get you going. Okay? Okay, guys. Next step, just making sure my mic is on. Moving on, stop and take a picture of whatever you have. Ask yourself, have I written in the chat? Have I added on? So we went ahead and so far we have just been describing with the elements of art. That's step 1 of the art criticism process. And I am watching in the chat. I'm like monitoring the chat and I'm seeing who's talking out loud and who's sharing, who's contributing. All right, so next step. What color did I do? Analysis. So analysis has to do with the principles of design. And you could see I talked about, I think a good goal is to talk about 3 elements and 3 principles. Give yourself 4 minutes or more. Siri, set my timer for 4 minutes.
Okay, 4 minutes and counting.
Always keep an eye on your time, guys. So analysis has to do with the principles of design. I would say that they very much are the focal point, and I look at their eyes and I look at their hands, right? So I would say this could be like the dominant focal point. This could be the next focal point. But as far as a focal point, I think, obviously our main characters are the focal point. And the people, like as humans, our eyes are always going to look at the people first. So this is the focal point. This is where my eye enters. So kind of like make note of that. And, maybe you came up with that on your own, which you should. So that is emphasis. So what is emphasized? Fabulous. Okay, so kind of like moving on. Looking at, different kinds of things. I am looking at them and then, I don't know, my eye goes to these trees, right? So as far as unity, talked about emphasis, right there. Okay, as far as unity, I see a lot of repetition, right? So the 2 trees are repeated. Okay. Is my mic on? Yes, it is. The 2 trees are repeated, and a lot of things are repeated. Okay, a lot. We got the birds. So it's not 2 birds, right? It's 3. We came up. It is. No, it's 4. So we have 4 birds that are repeated. And I wonder what the birds symbolize. Got to think about that. Okay, and then we have, I didn't even talk about all of this line work all over the place. Like, look at all this expressive, crazy line, right? Is this supposed to be a tree? Guys? And oh my gosh, I just noticed this fence. This is why we do art criticism, because we don't spend enough time looking. Guys, are you seeing this fence? And then obviously this bandana. But why do I bring this up? Okay, so let me pick like a bright green. This fence, right? And all of these lines, this is repetition of like an element of art, curvy lines. So we got this bended, we got this twistiness, right? So this repetition of this like squiggly lines, that creates unity. Repetition of twisted, should we call it twisted and messed up lines? Twisted, apologies for my handwriting, distorted line work. Repetition of twisted and distorted line work. Okay, and wow. It is unified too because we have the repetition of all of the weird bullet holes. And you can ask questions like, are these paint splats bullets? Oh my God, seriously, my timer's going off, guys. Already? I know you're like, you're extra, there's not enough time in class. I know, I totally agree. So let's stop and self-monitor. So we talked about repetition, which has to do with unity. So it is unified, right? We didn't talk about visual balance, so let's do that real fast. Now, visual balance is something that I didn't talk about enough because currently we're in distance learning. But I would say it is balanced because like this brick is heavy. Like this is heavy. This is almost like a second focal point. Heavy brick and the text is heavy. So welcome to Chentworth Office Locate. What does this say? Drastically and watch your children. Watch your children. Is that what it says? Watch your children. So heavy brick, heavy message, watch children, right? And we're watching, are these children? But I would say it's visually balanced. I would say that the line of symmetry is right here. What is a line of symmetry? Right? That's where the line you would draw if there's visual weight here and there's visual weight here. I feel like those are the two heavy sides, the left and the right. And of course it's visually balanced because it's a nice work of art. I almost feel like this right here, this drippiness, I feel like that is almost like a focal point too. And then the eye is being pulled around by this fence. What does this fence mean? Are they being kept out? Is this brick wall kind of a line of division? I'm not sure, but let's keep going. So I'm out of time. I'm still wondering what this is. This is visually heavy. So in balance, you're thinking about, okay, where's the focal point? Step 2, you're like, what's the focal point? And where does my eye go? What's emphasized? How is it unified? How is it balanced? What's the path through? Didn't even talk about the converging lines going up to here and the whole complex. Okay, but we are still taking apart this art piece. Okay, microphone is back on for the next step. My favorite step, interpretation. And interpretation is when we talk about the message. So again, ask yourself, how much have I been writing in the chat? And what do I think the theme is? Again, the theme is, what is the artist saying? I'm going to get a skinny pen. So when we're thinking about interpretation, maybe you want to take a highlighter and you just want to identify the big symbols, that are happening. Okay, the big symbols kind of in the painting. So I would say one symbol are kind of like the trees, right? That's a symbol. They are a symbol, these people, right? The trees. The birds are a symbol. And then obviously this sign has meaning. And then these hands, I think they're hands. I mean, there's so much here that we can kind of talk about. So what I want you to do is I want you to go around and be like, okay, well, what does this represent? What does this represent? So when I think of trees, and you can also make a list down at the bottom of your book if you're like, oh my gosh, this is too messy. I think of growth, right? And then, I forgot to start my timer. Siri, start my timer for 4 minutes.
It stopped.
Start my timer for 4 minutes.
Okay, 4 minutes and counting.
So, and then what do the people represent? What do the youth represent? So, kids represent tomorrow, which to me represents hope. Children are the future. Okay, and they're the hopeful, and she's smiling, and like that's that. So, but there's like a hidden truth here, right? So I feel like this is the hope, like this is what we're hoping for, the better homes, better gardens. But is it hopeful? I mean, to me, this side of the piece is the truth. Hope versus truth, indeed. Right? And I don't know if you guys are doing animo voices. Some people are. That's what we're working on doing. We're working on having that contrast between the truth. Oops, I can't find the right highlighter. The truth and hope, growth, and renewal. And we want to have both of that in our piece. So, I mean, the slime, the drippy paint, the gunshots. I mean, are these gunshots? You guys write in the chat. The shots make me think of violence, right? And kind of like truth and sort of like reality, right? So the reality of living in America. Okay. I don't know. Are the birds like the American dream? Is the American dream real? I'm hearing screaming outside. American dream. Okay. Yeah, and is this supposed to be a garden? I mean, is this really a garden? Right? Or is it a fake garden? Right? Is this a fake garden? I mean, does it say, watch your children? Is that what it says? I mean, it doesn't look like a real garden, right? This looks like something it's just pretending to be something it's not. Okay, and just so you guys know, you are going to present this work showing that you're practicing DAIJ. So are you listening? So this down here, this banner, right? Is it a lie? So I'm thinking truth versus the truth or the lies. I don't know. Versus hope. I think Kerry James Marshall wants us to decide, to be honest. So as far as interpretation, major topics, right? For interpretation, you do have to stop and you have to write. I know. So topics, major topics. I'm thinking homes. I'm thinking gentrification. People being pushed out of their homes. I'm thinking about inequity. I'm thinking about injustice. Am I writing too messy? There's a lot of noise. All right. So my timer's going off. So again, for interpretation, take the time to write the theme. The theme is, I don't know, you guys like saying society. Society wants to pretend that they are fixing and I'm not an expert with this, but I'm just interpreting. Inequity, or sorry, I can't talk. My family's getting closer. Inequity with projects, like the housing projects. And I don't really know much about the housing projects, so please look it up, write it in the chat. But in reality, it is not creating growth. But maybe Marshall, the artist, Marshall wants us to have a better solution. And then, because I'm thinking about, what I'm thinking about is her face, right? Right here. She has hope. And maybe the solution is family, love, support. And, when you guys learn more, you could go on and talk about what the bullets represent, what the gates represent. Guys, I just want to say I haven't read anything about this. I just kind of skimmed this article and I was like, oh my God, this artist is dope. Harlem Renaissance, learn more about that. But obviously he's saying something about race and he's kind of emphasizing it because he's juxtaposing this like really light value and the skin just feels really, really noticeably dark, right? And, he's like bringing that to our attention. Still don't know what this means. I mean, a big drippy lie, a big drippy mess. Okay, guys, so I got a theme, right? So that's like the next step is to come up with a theme for interpretation. Make sure you put your full sentence theme in the chat and talk about it. Sorry if that noise is distracting. And I am going to stop recording now. Next step, guys, rock and roll. Next step, here we go, is judgment. Our last step in the art criticism process. I got to email Rosa Jew and ask her who came up with DAIJ. I mean, I think it's just awesome. Okay, is this a good work of art? You are entitled to your opinion. This is totally subjective. But yes, this work of art is amazing. It's totally amazing and awesome because it captivates the audience. And I write in the chat, are you captivated by this? Give it a grade. It captivates the audience. It is super engaging because it spreads awareness. It spreads awareness about a social problem. Okay, so I feel like there's a really strong message about the housing crisis, the hope and the peace motivates me to take action. What you are writing in your journal is what you think, right? You don't need to necessarily copy me for this step. Okay, but make sure you go ahead and you do that. That is it, guys. I mean, I don't know if you need to annotate for judgment. It's kind of like over annotated. Notice how this isn't perfect, right? But it is obvious that I stopped and I thought. Your next step is I want you to talk about this to the class. I want you to talk about this with each other. And then right now, like, stop in the chat. I'm serious. Right now, it's just kind of like, what did Miss Copera miss? Right? So I would love for you to stop because, like, here's the bottom line. You are bringing your personal experience to this. So what did I miss? What did I miss? Do we do that? Yes. What did I miss? Describe what I missed as far as step 1, step 3, step 4. What elements for step 1 did I not see? And I would love that. Extra points to anyone who's seeing something. What design? How is it organized? That was the next step. Analysis. And then really, what is your theme? And I would love to get into a debate. Like, what is the message? You can look up stuff at this point. And I really want you guys to, like, stop, post what you have to seesaw, but then talk about it. And then it would be interesting. Maybe someone's going to say it's not a good work of art. So, you know, what did I miss? I want you to take additional notes. You are not writing down everything that I'm thinking about. You're really showing your own thinking. This narrative exists just to get your brain going, right? But what we saw this week in class is when I do these videos, it's a good starting point. And if you want to go back and if you want to draw, you can. If you want to do more sketches of Kerry James Marshall's artwork and do more research about him, you can as well. And bring all of your knowledge to the class. Okay, Blue Group, you got this. You are amazing. I'm so proud of you.